Camilla still goes very well with Tigreal, and they have always been a combo with one another. As such, it is always the implosion into into the Eternal Guard. Is it an Eternal Guard? Eternal Guard. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So, sends them flying, sucking them in, AOG slams, and then generally you'll have quite a lot of damage already from that point.
And also Vexana works well against a glue.
Yes,
especially when he goes into the small little bits and pieces.
Yes.
But this time around, don't forget, glue rework is also something that I really... Are we going for this one, our Abstract? Amux, are you serious? Odette and Camilla. Camilla Rome and Odette right there. No Johnson delivery system coming out from RSG. That was a crazy idea just now, but I wasn't expecting this coming out from
crazy idea 8. Camilla plus Odette. This is one heck of a combo. Okay, for the uninitiated, Carmilla's ultimate pretty much links everyone together. Right?
Yes.
Links everyone together, they share damage, they share crowd control.
A wombo combo alongside with the Odette.
Wombo combo alongside of the AOG.
And
one person fly,
yep.
Everybody fly.
Not only just that, now that everybody will be stuck together because Chip will be sending everybody together, and that's where, you know...
And Flash, realistically, have only, like, Chip for crowd control.
Yeah.
Yo, no one can stop Odette.
Well, technically, Chip can also, when he goes into this one of his skills, he actually does a bit of a knockback. But hear me out. This is actually...
I don't think knockback stops Swan Song.
Does.
It does?
It does.
But I know the stun doesn't.
Stun doesn't?
I know the stun doesn't.
That was a long time ago. I have, like I said, we have no... I really cannot remember because when we actually went to learn for MPL Singapore, nobody thought about the Odette. And now RSG is going to pull that out right here. But hear me out. There may be a bit of a... What's that called? There may be reason for this madness coming out from Coach Amox. We're not expecting Odette in MPL.
Okay. We need to dig into this, right? Odette, when it comes down to the Swan Song, I know that there is a certain amount of CC resistance when she have got her shield. And she also have one single charge of repositioning inbuilt into the Swan Song, and even have got the flicker. But my problem here is just how good is that wave clear, because right now the Faramis plus the Chip is a wave clear guard, and it is only in the early stages, the laning phases, that I think that RSG is going to suffer.
Man, I don't know what to think about it. Like what I mentioned, this is why I love, you know, Coach Amos coming out with this weird random drops out there, just throwing me out of the game. Literally, right? Literally throwing me out of my chair earlier just now when the Odette Camilla comes on. I'm not too sure. I've got not a lot of information on this abstract.
High level crowd control. Knocked airborne, transformed, and etc. I don't think a knockback knockback and a stun is considered as high-level control effect.
I mean, the only way we can basically...
is to see.
Yeah, is to see it. Right now, we're just doing an experiment. We need to see how JPL hopefully can push Roy out of this ultimate.
Well, we'll see how that works. Vanix don't have the crowd control. Cut TZ technically has a repositioning tool, and that is going to be the Shadow Stampede. But that also means that you, as a Faramis, have to eat up the entire Swan Song.
Yeah, technically Faramis, that pullback, technically also, I don't know whether that counts as a
crowd control.
High-level crowd control.
Yeah, so it's very ambiguous.
We have to see. I really want to watch this. But right now, let's take a look at this one. It is definitely going to be JPL once again.
Wow! That is explosive! Right down over to Roy. And Roy have used his flicker for the first time about 70 seconds ago. So this is not the first time that RSG have gained some heat from Team Black.
Abstract, that felt like Truck couldn't ran over Roy earlier just now. And Hades, that's a green carpet for them to pick up this turtle that's going to allow the Suyos to escalate. And now this time around, you don't really have Hanzo, right? So it's a lot easier for you to deal with. Hold on.
And there we go. The OG Shadow Kill coming in all the way through. We do have a shortcut that's going to be popped as well. But the OG Shadow Kill brings JPL down. Only one person entered into the shortcut, and that happens to be Ken.
Yep. Seems like Roy hasn't used that ultimate earlier just now. The Swan Song was just available online, and that kill earlier just now by Truck-kun literally limiting the growth of Roy for now. So I think RSG needs to take a step back just a little bit more, but Flsg, they need to ramp up that aggression.
At this point, we do have Ken that is just going to be working his way over onto the EXP lane, trying to clear that out as soon as possible, but that might not be too good because we do have Closer that is just hogging onto these waves, and Bray joins in the fray. There is no creep waves around, so Bray just wants to clear out the EXP, or rather the River Crab. Not going to go for the Ogi Shadow Kill as it's currently unavailable until now.
CS shooting Natalia down the bottom lane. I think if you are playing against a chip, you really need to make sure that you get as much information as possible.
They gotta be as safe. They gotta be extremely cautious. I think RSG have got enough PTSD trauma from the previous game, but we gotta have to watch it unfold. Jay literally just walked right into the brush in the bottom side. Hades just get a pretty decent damage in on the Jay, but I don't think that's gonna pick up fast.
I think right now, for the side of RSG, this is a very reactive kind of roster, right? Like, Flsg, they're the ones that are supposed to engage. So that RSG Singapore, this is meant to counter this whole roster coming out from Flash Singapore, especially that chip. But funnily, if JPL doesn't use the ultimate, then RSG roster become useless, right?
I mean, right? I guess so. But for now, we do have a little bit of a push down from the side of RSG. We've got JPL already down to half HP. He's looking for an opportunity to open up that the shortcut at the best timing possible, but he do not want to be too early on that as well. The top lane is pushing down, the mid lane is pushing out wide as well. The shortcut comes in with 3% right in the midst of everything, and we do have got a Swan Song coming in, dealing a decent amount of damage on the JPL, but we do have got the Nether Realm that dealt quite a bit. But I see it as though Roy escaped out of that fight with a flicker as such, interrupting his own Swan Song. Flash manages to pick up 3 kills using their own JPL as a sacrifice. The Ogi Shadow Kill goes in, but not quite enough for them to be able to execute all those low HP players.
Yeah, the Swan Song was literally went on uninterrupted all this time, right? Rest assured, I think for the side of Flsg should have something in terms of a high-level CC should have been landed, but he's able to output all that Swan Song. However, because of that early death, he's not able to output enough damage against Flsg earlier.
So we're gonna have to wait and see, right? Odette requires items to realistically be able to do good damage. At this point, she don't have any, with only 2,600 gold to her name.
Yep. Going one, definitely being rushed out by Roy right here. Like what I mentioned, RSG Singapore shouldn't try to pick a fight. I think should try to disengage, but Flsg, I think they're just holding a gun against RSG Singapore, forcing them to fight.
5 minutes and 55 seconds onto the clock at this point, with about 4,000 gold lead for Flsg. Did we hype up too much on the RNG, or is this just going to be a late-game monster on the side of RNG? That is probably going to be the question.
Don't forget, Odette late game, the Swan Song, that zone denier is super deadly.
And we haven't exactly seen just what kind of combo we can see from the Curse of Blood plus the Swan Song at this point in time just yet.
Yeah, don't forget, another problem from the side of RSG Singapore is that closer is the Gato Kacha, the AOG you need. Yes, technically speaking, you can use it to engage, but you're not expecting to land the AOG sometimes, right?
Yeah.
You're using the zone. Yeah. Same idea for the side of Camilla. That ultimate, that ring, also, it's actually really hard to land because everybody literally could just walk out of it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at
backswing.
Yeah, you're looking at something. Usually, when you pick a Camilla, you're looking at something to basically do the initial lockdown first, so that you can land that ultimate.
So now the question is, how do they want to layer their abilities, right? Do they want to look out for an AOG in order to push people to a certain direction so that the Curse of Blood could land? Or would it be vice versa? Curse of Blood in order to push people into the AOG? But most of the time, I would like to believe that RSG will want to walk into battles.
Map. RSG Singapore, they're tunnel vision onto the turtle. Look at Vanix just free farming all the way down bot.
I don't think that they're actually gonna deal with this at this point in time. Like, even if they were to walk down to the bottom lane, they're just gonna get a shortcut in. While in the meantime, Hades will be able to get themselves the turtle at this point. The rest of RSG is just gonna be congregating together right within of the T1 turret.
And not only just that, Ken literally zones RSG away. Like what I mentioned, the tunnel vision onto, but hold on, JPL looking sneaky right there.
Is just saying hi.
that was a drive-by, literally. But you know, like the fact that RSG Singapore was literally committing into that turtle fight, but they tunnel vision right into that one, and they still lose the turtle. Ken right there zoning RSG Singapore by himself.
Yeah, literally a drive-through, right? One hamburger with no pickles. Coming in from the back and just quick little proxy. But regardless, let's talk a little bit about RSG. They are currently 7,000 gold behind.
Yeah.
They require some time before they are before they eventually go online. Before CS can deal reasonable damage, Roy can deal reasonable damage as well. But how much time exactly do they need?
Yeah, but I feel like time is definitely a factor, right? But then again, you lose out so much. Look at Flsg. Bottom lane is so cleared up. Now Hades is just going to do his normal thing. The mid lane right now is going to try to get crack open. Ken will try to engage right here.
Oh my goodness, the flicker coming in from the side of Ken. For the meantime, Katizi finds himself in the bad spot as we do have God Roy picking up that kill using the Swan Song.
Yep, and that's basically maybe time for them. But then again, there's quite a big gold gap, right? Roy right here, you don't really trust his... I don't think you can trust his damage right now. It's all on Bray to make sure he lands the assassination on be it Vanix or be it Kurtz or even Hades.
It will take time. But how much time do they need? 6,000 gold lead from the side of Team Flash. Team Flash also wants to play onto the aggressive role. Jumps on to CS, but not going to be opening up the shortcut at this point.
Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
Yeah,
but I feel like RSG Singapore, apart from the fact that they tunnel vision onto the turtle, maybe Amos also tunnel vision onto the drop as well, right? Now JBL just walks on in, activates the ultimate, just to try to zone and bait RSG's ultimates out. Here we go.
Immediately, with the Depth Sonata, gets himself a huge amount of range away from Vanix. And now that they know that the Zaman Force is currently unavailable, this is actually a pretty good time to strike onto RSG.
Yeah.
But they also gotta have to know that they are more of a reaction comp. They would want to counter-engage instead of engaging. Technically, they can just send Jay walking right in, poke the enemies, and force flash in.
Yeah, but like, you need to... But then JPL could easily respawn, right? And that's the thing. That's the thing about RSG Singapore's roster. I mean, it's a very interesting way of doing it, especially Carmilla and the Gato Kasha one more combo, but I think it's a little bit too reactive.
Well, we're gonna have to wait to see what exactly is that dream play from RSG. But do note, this is a late game comp. The moment that they are able to land that kind of dream play, it could just potentially just wipe out the entirety of Flash. And even though Flash have got like these T2 turrets, it could just end the game in a blink.
The Lord though, Bray cannot actually hold on to it, and now Team Flash trying to make a play around it. The Lord gets reset, and now Flash actually looking to strike.
JPL just going to be rushing himself right into the side of CS. The shortcut is unfortunately used in a very suboptimal location. As such, Hades will be able to get a kill down on the J. We do have Closer just going to be jumping his way all the way to the back lines, and of course, when it comes to the Swan Song, done a reasonable amount of damage. They entered the portal. At least that is for Kurtz. He wants to walk himself all the way back home, but with the Desert Realm, he's got his second chance at life. They're continuing on with this fight, but there is still Bray right around the vicinity. As such, Kurt flickers himself away. He's gonna be safe and sound for now, but now the Lord is about 30% HP. They goes on for a reset because they can't hold on to this with the amount of HP they have.
Yeah, earlier just now we were talking about 7k gold lead, now is dwindling down to 4k. That was a very good fight for the side of RSG. They really did really well because Flash SG, because if you notice how the shotgun was being used, it was like a Looney Tunes kind of cartoon. We're chasing each other through each other's portals, and then after that, you know, see how JBL, maybe he can do something right here.
Oh, and the retribution coming from Star Ray will bring down the Lord and the Swan Song. But unfortunately, that is Ken that managed to find himself the split, and that will completely remove the Swan Song. That is one of the crowd control we completely forgotten about. As such, the AOG from Closer gets himself away, and that is the reset of the fight.
Man, Ken was massive right there in order to be able to stop that one. JPL, that was a wise choice. Unfortunately, the Lord still goes over to the side of RSG Singapore. That was a good attempt, though.
Okay, so now I think that they realize that they really need to reserve the split over to the Odette. so that they can cancel out that Swan Song. That is before Ken even goes down. We do have a pretty decent amount of poke potential coming from CS though, but I don't think that will be enough to eventually bring Ken down. It will still allow Ken to go for the split onto Roy, unless they want to kind of play it slow, wait for Ken to use the split, and only then they go for.
Yeah, but with that, there's Hades versus Break.
Oh! Even the flicker.
JPL really wants Break.
Really wants it. In the event that he actually picks up the kill on the Brave, that will be so worth it of a flicker.
Yeah, but take a look. Because of that lord, the standing door right there will be able to be collected by the side of RSG. RSG Singapore is still unable to crack up top for now. And if you take a look, the gold lead is still leaning over to the side of Flash.
Oh, the nether realm is forced. As such, no more nether realm for the next upcoming fight.
Hades.
But Hades doing Hades thing. As such, Flash will probably want to extend this fight as long as possible as the Suyo will crack down the top lane turret.
And once again, Hades trying to do it. Gatakacha may be able to do something against that. A minute right there. Hades has to run away now.
Oh no, he got taunted in with the Blade Surge and he's gonna be A-okay.
But then again, if you notice how Team Flash literally lost.
Wait, the creep waves at the top lane is still going. So I think that Hades might want to go in for a second try.
No.
Oh no!
He doesn't have the HP. And now because of that, RG Team Flash waves.
They don't have the creeps. They don't have the creeps. But they're fine. They have one Ballista to at least bring down this T3 turret. That was a classic greedy Hades play.
A base trade happening right here. The ultimate being used to try to slow down Roy, using the ultimate to try to zone abstract.
No, now he wants to clear out the creep wave, especially since Ken is not around the area to go for the split and cancel out the Swan Song. But ultimately, Roy will still go down. Both teams, they are greeding. They want to end it.
I have no idea why I'm watching anymore, Abstract, because Hades, I mean, that was a good play, right? But then again, when the base trade fell, RG Singapore also realized that they're running out of steam. But after all of that, take a look. Mid lane and bot lane for the side, Flash SG is open. The gold lead now swings in the favor of RG Singapore. Now the Lord is coming out and Vanix is still down in 10 seconds. RG Singapore needs to rush this.
Oh my god, I am actually getting a little bit of a deja vu at this point in time. But we'll see how that's gonna go.
And don't forget, Chip can basically bring everybody to the front. Roy still needs to do the manual way of walking all the way to the fight.
Eye on the prize, Hades. Eye on the prize. As Flicker commented from the side of JPL. The AOG being expanded out as well. Ken does not have a lot of HP to work with. As such, Roy with the bouncing musical notes bring him down. The nether realm is also going to be popped. As such, KTZ no longer have got that to work with them. The Swan Song are currently unavailable. CS still haven't got a couple of Rhapsody or Depthonata to work with. However, Hades, the sly assassin, goes over the backlines and peels off of CS.
Man, that was a very bad fight for the side of Flash SG. Hear me out. RSG Singapore, that was a... Even though they missed 2 ultimates, Flash SG makes more sense. If you take a look at this replay right here, the AOG and also... it's already... Okay, this is already used. AOG earlier used already. Carmilla ultimate is already committed. That's why Team Flash wants a handshake this fight. But look at Bray. Bray's target prioritization is so good in terms of finding these main damage dealers. Don't forget, KTZ on the Faramis. Yes, after his cult altar is out, he's basically a sitting duck.
There's really not much that you gotta be afraid of. Aside from, I guess, Ghostbusters, right? I don't think that RSG is gonna be that close with one another all that much. But as much as I really want to see the effects of the Curse of Blood, Curse of Blood has got one of the weakest visual effects. I, for the life of me, can never be able to see the Curse of Blood being used for most of these instances.
Maybe this time.
Now, okay, now I can see it, but everyone's just gonna be huddled up together. They're all hugging and cuddling. As such, Hades as well as Ken, they don't have a lot of HP to work with, but fortunately, they did manage to bring down Bray as well as CS. The rest of Flash is just gonna be running right in. Jay still have a lot of HP left, and also with the immortality, Closer just gonna be whamming down onto the ground, trying to clear out the waves as soon as possible. But there's still a wave there's still a wave coming in. Immortality is currently gonna be popped. Closer is still in the game, however, still go down at this point in time. Flash, they got a free entry and a free ticket right over to the core and demolish that crystal.
That is actually a very interesting turn of events. RSG
Actually,
Singapore
yeah.
actually almost had it, but don't forget, you can take down Faramis. The Faramis passive allows you to basically respawn very quickly. You use the chip ultimate, he's suddenly back in the fight even faster than usual.
I guess that all you need to do to end this game is end it the natural way. Just group up and end the game instead of just sending Hades trying to. But to be fair though, that one push to bring down that T3, it enabled them to be able to run down like that.
Yeah, but to be honest, like if you notice how Team Flash is actually playing it, this kind of game, I think they adapted on the fly. We talked about how Hades like to play the 4+1. Now, because of the chip, they're grouped together as one, and that's where they can really know how to snowball.
At this point in time, we did definitely mention that the chip is, of course, a very valuable tool for Flash solely because of Hades' playstyle. He always looked out for these opportunities and potential to go for the split pushes. And even though Suyo is one of those heroes that have decent mobility, but you have to use S1 and S3 in order to navigate around the map. But realistically speaking, you want to use them on killing and wave clear. So in order for him to get himself back into team fights, at least they have the shortcut. You're not too afraid of. You're not too afraid as a Suyo from overcommitting into a lane push.
Yeah, maybe Chip needs to go into the banning phase right here.
I believe
because JPL is seemingly too comfortable for this, and it enables Team Flash to do what they're really good at. Now, apart from the fact that 4+1 comp does, apart from using the 4+1 comp, one click of a button, you bring everybody together.
Exactly. In fact, it doesn't even have to be 4+1. It's 1+3+1, right?
You can basically spread everybody. If you notice, if you notice, for a period of time, Team Flash, at a period of time, they're literally having members everywhere. Vanix is having a good time down bot.
Yeah.
And then while RSG is literally tunnel vision onto the turtle.
Yeah, free reign all the way down the lanes. He even went over and attacked the turret even when there was the whole defense up.
Yep, and
didn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because the chip. The value of the chip, especially in Team Flash, is just way too crazy. I wasn't expecting JPL. I mean, why do I doubt JPL? I shouldn't doubt him. I'm sorry, I've sinned. I'm sorry. I have sinned.
He's the pioneer.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I've sinned.
Leave it to him.
I doubted JPL for the chip.
Leave it to him.
Yeah.
So I think that Amox have pretty much understood what is currently at stake. The chip plays well with Flash's current, I guess, way of playing. It works well with Flash's the playstyle. Yes, that's the term I'm looking for. They have disabled the use of a Hayabusa on the side of Hades, but now another threat came in, which still enabled him, and that is the chip. So I think that right now there is two things that they need to ban in order to not give them this kind of comfy gameplay. Chip as well as the Hayabusa. Either they are going first pick, first ban, take the Hayabusa away, or they have to ban these two heroes.
Yeah, Abstract, to be honest, as we take a look at this, the stat screen right here, you can start to see Royce picking up a lot of damage already. The Genius one, the blood, the wings as well. These are basically the very defensive items, and not only just the fact that you are able to survive an onslaught even longer, right? And you can also start to see that even RSG missed the two ultimates from Jay and also Closer, they can still put up a good hell of amount of damage against Flash SG. But don't forget, the crazy plays coming out from Hades, especially Team Flash, just likes to keep us just literally on the edge of our seats. And yeah, the chip literally enabled this playstyle, allowing Flash to have even more free roam all across the map.
I genuinely and really like the idea though, with the Carmilla plus the Odette. Initially, I was thinking, would that get them out of the early game? Would that be enough? Does the wave clear allow them to kind of help out the other teams, or rather help out the other lanes? I think to a certain extent, yes, right? Because CS doesn't seem like he's having too horrible of a time in the lanes. He's currently 7:3:4. Can't exactly see how his creep kills and all that kind of stuff, but you get the idea. The main thing is to get CS farmed up, and to a certain extent, some snowball potential.
Yeah, but he's always getting threatened by Ken, right? And now if you
And
notice...
Hades too.
And Hades as well. If you
Yeah.
notice RSG, after the Tunnel of Vision, they'll start to group up as 5. I mean, that's where the roster is really strong at. Literally these 5v5. And don't forget, the roster is really good at one thing, which is basically to deny the chip from using the ultimate. But if you notice how JPL is using it, right? Even though, yes, the ultimate misses, it strikes fear, and RSG overreacted. I feel like this game is all about RSG overreacting to a lot of things, and Flsg just, yeah, they tried to do that base rush earlier just now, but I would say they were lucky. They were really lucky for that one.
Good point on that. So far in this game, we have seen a lot more shortcuts that is actually used onto the backlines, and no one's taken it.
Yep, nobody should be taking it, because don't forget, if you take it, you're walking into Jake, you're walking into Closer, an easy AOG, easy is circle, and then after that, you're walking into a Swan Song. Nah, man, I'm not taking it.
It's almost like an overcommittal shortcut from side of JPL. I'm not sure whether that is essentially a bait onto the side of RSG to make them think about a possible angle from two sides. Because whenever JPL goes for that, a fight is actually going on already on the opposite side, or not really opposite side, maybe a few feet away, right? And we all know that the fight is already ongoing. If there is an opportunity to use the shortcut, I guess why not? In order to get himself over the backlines. Eventually, I think RSG will forget about the existence of these shortcuts. In fact, one of the battles, that is exactly what JPL did. Flickered onto the back, and I think that used the shortcut either onto Roy or CS. They evacuated from that premise, and then at the point in time, Kurtizi, he was almost about to die. Just went into the over to the portal and tried to look for another way to run away. Unfortunately, he still died though. So at least that shows an application of the shortcut.
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like if you take a look at this one, oh, hold on a second. Ken absorbing so much damage, 164 K damage as well. Ken also did a very good zoning earlier just now, especially towards the early parts of the game. But I think it's just the decision-making of Team Flash as a whole. Whether to take the shortcut or not, I think that's the question.
Yeah, so communication is key, right? As long as they can do that, then they're going to be A-okay. But here we go. We do have got the MVP of the game. Goes over to Hades with 6 kills, 2 deaths, and 3 assists with a total of 60% of KP.
Yeah, definitely. The assassin not only just that strikes fear in the hearts of the players, he also strikes fear towards the base as well, because you never know when he could be right beside the base and then just goes for the checkmate right there.
Yep. Honestly, a funny interaction. A little bit of a blunder going on, trying to re-enter into the base, but I don't think that made any substantial change in the economy. It doesn't make any put up any change in the battlefield as well. So I think that's a small little blunder, but they tried.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to try.
1 token 3 tries, you know.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them to try. But apart from that, like what I mentioned, the RSG tunnel vision is starting to show just a little bit more. You also start to see the pathing of CS and Closer starting to be a little bit more sussy, especially when the fact that, you know, you miss an AOG, you miss a J also miss a circle, and that allows, you know, for the side of JPL to really strike. But if luckily for the fact that, you know, CS and also to a certain extent, Roy can do a lot of damage in that small little amount of time. That's why they're able to survive these kind of team fights.
In fact, I think if you kind of pull in the footage between game number 2 and game number 3, you can tell a very big difference with how they used the shortcut and how they played with the shortcut. We saw a lot of turret dives in game number 2. There was no such thing in game number 3. There were a lot of clumping together in game number 2. But we don't have that in game number 3.
Definitely.
Everyone is just kind of like all around a very huge area, especially around the river lines. They want to ensure that they don't give any free curse of blood, tethers. They don't give a free AOG, and most importantly, don't give a free Swan Song.
Yeah, and it's really like what I mentioned. It's a good team decision coming out from Team Flash, right? Like they know that this draft is very reactive, maybe a little bit too reactive.
And very ultimate reliant too.
It is.
So I guess, as long as you kind of split yourselves up, you kind of make RSG kind of scratch their head and thinking, how do we use our ultimate now?
Yeah, and don't forget, to to a certain extent, if you want to also use this kind of roster from the side of Gatakacha and also the Camilla to basically engage, it is also very wonky because these two ultimates are really hard to land. The only way to use this is basically zone, or someone needs to be the bait. Usually, you need a Tigreal to set up at the very least, or maybe to a certain extent, crazy idea number 8, a Yuchong Petrify. 9.
Okay, 8 is the one that you didn't manage to say, which you wanted to say to Odette.
Oh yeah, but
but you didn't say it.
Well, the combo
should work. So is that 8, or is this 9?
8.5.
8.5.
8.5. Crazy idea 8.5. A Yuchong Petrify, or even to a certain extent, a Benedetta Petrify will enable this roster to even greater extent just now.
I still kind of prefer that Tigreal plus Vexana though. I still want to see that, and I still prefer that if they want to play into the chip. The difference is that it's not exactly so comical as compared to the Curse of Blood plus the Swan Song. The reason being is that if they do have the Vexana, at least the Eternal Guard still will linger around the battlefield, and the initial knockup, you can use that as a pick-off tool. Implosion onto 1%, that's fine, is also a pick-off tool. There is still a lot of things that they can do, even with these ultimates being off cooldown. The Horrifying Hands is also a good crowd control. While for Odette, you do have a Immobilize, sure, but you still have a single that bird. I don't know what it's called, but a single bird.
That's how rare we see. That's how we don't really see Odette. We don't even know the skill name except for the ultimates.
Yeah. So ultimately, I will say that in most other situations, Vexana does wonders. Right? You're not that ultimate reliant. While in the meantime, Odette is super ultimate reliant. What they can do in that previous game is that they probably did that. I didn't really quite catch that. Is that instead of looking for a perfect 5-man because of Blood, AOG, Swan Song, is just 1 or 2. Just get it done and over with.
Because of Blood on 1 person, what's the point?
I mean, 1 or 2, I guess.
1. I think at least 2.
At least 2, yeah.
But I think that might be the plan, right? Using the Odette to try to catch somebody first and then follow up immediately. But
technically, if you use the Swan Song, you kind of make people either run away, which is quite telegraphic as to where they would generally want to go. So I guess that is also a viable initiating tool, but that will also mean you lose a huge chunk of damage potential.
Yes, that's right. But apart from that, I think I like what I mentioned. We also praised the fact that Team Flash really used even using the same draft and then even play into a
very different positioning.
Yeah, but the way they play it is very different. The way they execute the draft is also different. So this is what I mentioned. It's the difference between a difference between a really good team and a very good team, right? And the fact that if RSG is unable to adapt on the fly based on the circumstance, maybe you're right. Maybe just start using the Carmilla to stun 1 person, we catch 1 person, and then we just rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah.
Don't need to use the Curse of Blood. Just follow up with AOG to cut everybody out. If you follow up with the AOG, you follow with the Curse of Blood, hey, that's a good bonus.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going into game number 4. So far, Team Flash have got 2 wins in the pocket, while RSG, unfortunately, only with 1 from game number 1. Once again, we throw our time and over to the coaches and the book. Notebook over to the coaches for them to play their initial brain game. Now, we did, of course, talk about the ideas of removing Hayabusa and removing the chip away from the hands of Team Flash. But is that really going to be something that Amox is interested in? Or do they want to, once again, tackle that problem? Tackle the chip problem? Because I think that stealing away the Hayabusa or banning out the Hayabusa is a good idea. But for Chip, I think that they can counter that. They just need better execution.
Yeah, but it feels like, RSG... I mean, if you're Team Flash right now, do you ban the Kalia or do you ban the Chip? Because right here, I think
they can play the Chip. Just leave it to them.
Jay can play the Chip as well. So that's something that, for the side of Team Flash, also need to look out for. Or unless you ban something that's completely random, and then after that, you open. Let you choose. You want to go for the Kalia first pick, or you go for the Chip first pick. That is the problem of on the blue side.
I feel that it's kind of like a no harm done over the side of Team Flash. Even if they lose the Chip, that means that they gain the Hayabusa. And it's kind of like it's kind of like an either or situation for Team Flash. Is like if we don't have the Hayabusa, at least the Chip still enables Hades. Or if we lose the Chip, at least we have the Hayabusa to enable the Hades. Whichever way they need, they have a way in R1 and R2. which in this case, RSG didn't care about all of that. In fact, this is the first time in in three games where I think Amox didn't ban the Juicin, and the Juicin went over to RSG.
Yeah. Apparently, yes. Game number
1 through 3.
Game number 2, I believe. Game number 1. Sorry, game number 1 earlier just now. The Juicin was picked.
Okay.
By the side of RSG, and now this time around, last gamer was banned. Power pick over, but this I don't know. It's going to be the same thing again.
Okay.
To be honest, guys, this feels like a Season 7 thing over and over again. Remember, Roy was just go on in with the Farsa over and over again. RSG, it seems like they're repeating the same exact job as earlier just now. And now this time around, if Flash is feeling a little bit flashy this time around, going for Lucas this time.
Yeah, they understand the potential of what Lucas can bring in a snowball factor game, right? This time, RSG, the change is in the mage. So they have a Juicin for their side. They are hoping to be able to use the Lantern Flare and possibly the Crimson Beacon to be able to pick everyone else up into the sky while they use the shortcut. But do note that those marks takes time to accumulate. And I don't know if whether the Juicin can stay around that long to pick them all up.
Shall see. Right now, back to the banning phase. Abstract Hayabusa ban off on the side of Flash SG. So Zace is actually targeting mostly on the side of Bray. The high loss is a good ban because high loss, I believe a glue should be coming up next on the side of RSG. Now Ken.
I think a Link ban would be good here.
A Link ban is also great.
Yeah.
Because you also limit the fact of cross-map plays that Bray can also do. Don't forget a Hanzo threat is also looming. Like what I mentioned, there's not enough ban slot, Abstract. We need 20 bans.
Maybe we just cut the amount of heroes that can be played, huh? Okay. Crazy idea number 9.
Okay.
The Fanny here for RSG.
Yeah, because the fact that the Hayabusa is already banned away.
Enable cross-map plays.
Yep.
And even if Team Flash plays around and far away, Fanny still got a way to catch up to them. Even if they come play close together, Fanny will be even happier because everyone is close together, enables all that AoE damage.
Yep.
So I think that Fanny is the kind of jungle assassins that don't really care about the positioning of Team Flash, no matter how they play the shortcut, because of the vastly different ways of game number 2 and game number 3. We clearly seen an archetype, a composition archetype from Team Flash that changes, even though the composition is more or less the same.
Yeah. Okay. Abstract. Now, if we take a look at this one, Badang comes out. That's the response over to the Fanny, which is also interesting, right? Badang
I think it's
goes
still
into
okay.
the EXP lane this time around.
I think it is still okay. I think that this is dependent on the confidence of Bray. Amox will definitely ask Bray,
I feel like, no.
Are you okay
Don't
against Badang?
Don't forget when Bray and also Diablo were back in the same team, and Diablo literally said it before, Badang is a perfect counter against the Fanny. Number 1, he throws it out.
They 1v1 before, but that was when Badang was a damage dealer.
Tigreal and Suyo secured by the side of our SG.
Tigreal is a good answer.
Yeah, finally, right? I think one of the games, Zace actually banned away the Tigreal in one of the games earlier just now. Now hopefully that's a good counter against the chip.
Okay. I think that it is. I mean, not that I think. In theory, it is a good answer. Yeve. So, okay, utility onto the mage, boxes everyone else up, takes the shortcut, flickers backwards.
Yeah, I think this is also a very scary drop coming off of Team Flash. This time around, I finally am glad to see this kind of roster coming off Team Flash. The Yeve also really works wonders, especially now we have to play inside the box. Remember, creating zone for the Zaman Force allow them to basically zip-zap around. Since the high loss is banned away, the Eve can also do the same. On top of that, you lock people inside so that the Lucas can just go ham inside the box.
Yeah. So, how's that gonna go? The good thing is there is also a combo between Lucas and Yeve, and this is not something that we see all the time. It may be good, it may be bad, it really depends on how you see it. And of course, it's also a way to manipulate the battlefield. Not only does Lucas have got displacement tool in the S1,
CC immunity as well.
CC
Especially
immunity
when
on
it goes
that, right?
into the Unleash the Beast form.
Have you thought about the fact that in Lucas plus Eve, the moment you go in into and use S1 onto the opponents and knocks them into the wall of the RWM, you essentially layer a root onto them.
Literally stun everybody, right?
Yes.
And now, on top of that, you also got Ken. There's a lot of CCs on the side of RSG. Hopefully, they are able to respond. In the meantime, ladies and gents, going to go into game number 4 right here. And looking to spice up with the Tigreal on Jay.
So, we're looking at a Badang versus a Gatokacha down in the bottom lane. Gatokacha has got a little bit of a lane priority on top of the Badang down the bottom. Top lane, we have the Granger with that lane prior. So, RSG seems to be looking decent in both of these lanes, even though Harif is supposed to technically win in the lane. In the meantime, here we go. 2 trades in between of these two teams. Bray is the one that suffers the damage, while Katizi is the one from Flash that suffers the damage.
Ken really punching closer like that. These fist crack, especially punching people to the wall, it stuns them as well. And how closer is really close to that wall is not looking very good.
So, I want to see the snowball factor that Team Flash love to play, and the way that worked out for them previously. Just how much damage can Hades bring into this game? Because right now we're looking at quite a bit of utility in the roaming trio. So most of the damage stems from Hades itself. Is it enough? That's what I want to know.
I think it is. Don't forget, Lucas does have a lot of burst damage as well. You stun lock somebody, that's basically it. But don't forget, this time around, we need to...
Chip has a lot of damage too, yeah.
The only way that RSG Singapore is able to stay alive in these kind of engages coming off from Team Flash is Jay. Jay must be the win con right here. He needs to perform a beautiful implosion, or be it, even if it's not an implosion, a good pushback.
But this also means that Jay cannot be a trigger finger. If he wants, he's gonna have to look out for that.
Decision making, man.
Yeah, this is all about decision making. So most of the time, if Jay just sticks close to JPL whenever he sees that portal, then it was gonna be good. In the meantime, Hades gets himself the turtle almost immediately, and just gonna go straight in for all of that. The S1 triple combo, as well as the AOG multiple times. It did not happen. As such, I don't know about that. But now we do have Roy that's stuck in the wall, flickers himself out of danger. And that is Team Flash with 2 kills.
And that's the power of Lucas, right? He goes Unleash the Beast, Bray cannot assassinate, and then he gets assassinated himself. And don't forget, you also got Ken building up that wall, just literally landing the punch onto Bray. RSG Singapore, I feel like this needs to be a hit around. The Suyo needs to be really smart in terms of his positioning.
I kind of like the fact that, although it's kind of sad, that Closer tried to AOG twice, but to no avail. We saw the warning signs, but it's like,
Yeah. Because of the JPL constant knockback, right? To stop the channeling, it's very annoying.
Even Hades also has a knockback. Even Ken also has a knockback. There's so many knockbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally AOG doesn't pop because of that. That makes a massive difference. But don't forget, as Courtesy is on the eve. Technically speaking, if you go into real-world manipulation, you have a pseudo CC immunity because you don't get deactivated. Yeah, you don't get, you just stand still right there.
Yeah, so now Bray comes in. It does seem like the arrow actually didn't quite manage to land the cannon, but I don't think that is that big of a problem per se. We do have the total that will be coming up in 30 seconds. As such, let's review a little bit on the, oh, nice steal, but JPL, wow!
Brings in the good one, Ken.
Immediately tries to go for the fist break, but unfortunately did not manage to land. That is going to be a one-man implosion. The AOG comes in to connect, but unfortunately Ken was actually CC immune throughout that entire period, so he's not going to be flying up into the sky. As such, Katizi opens up the box. The RWM is just going to be locking people in, but it doesn't seem like it's going to do too much over the Closer. In fact, not enough damage. As such, we've got a backwards hit coming in from Hades, but the Junama actually ends the life of Jay. Hades is going to be fine. Bray was not able to touch a hair of Hades.
Ken is the MVP of that particular fight.
Oh my god!
The fact that you use your ultimate, you are CC immune, you basically ignore the AOG, you stay alive, and you still stun. You build a wall to block Bray from actually assassinating Hades. Man, that was crazy.
That was quite an exchange, right?
It is.
Okay, that was fun to watch. But the turtle is still up and running. That fight translated to almost nothing for RSG. That's 4 kills in favor for Team Flash. We hit the 5-minute mark. All of the energy turrets, or rather energy shields, are all gone. We're looking at about 1.5k gold lead, and here we go! The entire family is here! As now closer is just going to be completely wrecked up, full of bruises.
Somebody called the disciplinary teacher. This is cyberbullying right here. Man, you can see how Roy's like hurting Curtizzi right here. And it's like, oh, you like hurt, you like hurt. Curtizzi, yeah, nah, I'm chill. JPL comes in. The whole team from side of the Flash SG just goes in, picks up 1 kill.
You blink, you lose. Oh, man. But despite all that fight, Flash got an advantage of 0.5k.
Yeah, I mean, definitely gold lead is something we definitely want to look at. The damage coming off CS is starting to show. Jay, like what I mentioned, we need to make sure that Jay actually gets a good implosion. We haven't seen that yet.
Not yet, right? So I think that Flash, especially for JPL, I think his communication is the most important.
Okay, he got assassinated right there, but it's okay. Now Vanix. Zaman Force still available. Maybe he can make a play out of his life here.
Oh, as he pops out the Zaman Force, not quite enough to defend, not quite enough to heal himself. Never mind, Can joins into the fray. And in the meantime, it is going to be the RWM just going to be popped, not quite enough to get a kill down on the CS. Curtizzi all alone now have to face Bray, but at least the Void Blast gets him out of dodge.
Man, Ken is literally enabling Flash to basically go in.
JPL with a shotgun down the entire team right under the turret's nose, takes him down.
The Badang and also the chip wombo combo is actually crazy, right? Just go into shortcut, send the Badang out, you build a wall. There's no way from the side of RSG Singapore to basically escape one by one. Flash SG is using this roster as if it's like a pick-up position.
7 minutes into this game, 3,000 goal lead for Team Flash. RSG finally managed to pick up 3 kills. Oh, I hear the conceal all the way in the middle lane. Ken, he's okay. But JPL, he's rushing in. Drops down. Wait, no shortcut.
No shortcut, but
no shortcut. No shortcut.
We'll sacrifice his life to the RSG SG gods for now. But Flash SG, man, it's crazy how, you know, they get the chip for 3 games in a row. RSG Singapore refuses to bend it out. And then after that, you see variations on the chip play by Flash SG.
These are all archetypes of Wombo Combo Unga Bunga, right? Playing around the chip. Vanix. But right now, Vanix drops down the Zaman Force, but taking a little bit too much damage. At least he do have the Purifier and got himself 1 shot after the next one onto Bray. While in the meantime, Bray had a solo fight against CS. That is 2 of the main damage dealers coming from the side of RSG that's already going to be taken down and closer. Despite how tanky it is, it will still go down to the claws, the ripping claws of Hades.
Man, Flash SG literally tearing off RSG Singapore bit by bit. You also start to see that, you know, the fighting spirit for the side of RSG Singapore sapping away. Flash SG is on a roll right here.
Oh boy. Now, the Lord goes over to the hands of Flash. 8 minutes in this game. We've got 2 turtle takes, 1 Lord, and 2 turrets taken so far. The Lord is going to be marching up from the top lane. And the middle lane eventually would might go down.
Flicker.
Jay, single man Flicker, who wants to do something about this, but it doesn't seem like he's going to do too much as Curtizzi even put up the RWM just so that they will be able to isolate that High Grail. As such, Roy. Oh, wait! That is more or less a 1-hit kill coming in from the side of Hades.
Man, I really have to give Team Flash that kudos. He's going to go on.
Oh, the shotgun is back. The Rasengan brings down Sasuke. And CS walks away with a slipper.
JPL is literally speed right there. He brings the rest of the team, and don't forget with the fleeting time, he can use the ultimate over and over again. RSG Singapore, there's no time for them to breathe. The studio is unable to snowball, and you see how Curtizzi used that real world manipulation creatively. What a Giga Chan.
With all of these turrets now currently going to be under siege. Middle lane T2 down. Top lane T2 is now currently attacked by the Lord. Every single one of these waves are just marching in with the holy defense being popped one after another. I would like to believe that the top lane's holy defense will eventually be popped as well. But the great thing is if it explodes before the Lord reaches. But never mind, there's a bunch of HP gone from the Lord. But I think that's a small thing.
Yep.
Bottom lane's holy defense is also popped.
Man, one Lord, 3 lanes popped, and that's only just the first Lord, and that's not ideal for the side of RNG Singapore right now. They need to try to hunker down, but the Suyo is unable to farm. CS is also a little bit low in terms of farming as well. We're looking at Jay, the Tigreal, the implosions. Yes, you can catch, but you get real world manipulation, and that's like a massive divide between you, and all of a sudden you get caught in a no man's land.
JPL is just wondering. I think it's fine for now. The Summon Force has been committed just to ensure that they will be able to bring down the T3 in the top lane, while Hades all alone, they managed to bring down the T3 in the bottom.
Yep, it's back to the 4+1. Once again, RSG Singapore, they'll have no answers against this chip. JPL and also Ken playing out of their minds. Topside also cracked open as well, Abstract.
Yikes.
I feel like RSG Singapore just doesn't have the fuel to continue on the fight.
Oh man, what went wrong? Oh wait, I know, Chip.
Man, this is giving me Season 7 vibes once again. Remember how in Season 7, RSG Singapore insisted to use the Farsa on Roy over and over again, even though Flash has found 3 ways to counteract against the Farsa. And now we're back here once again. RSG Singapore refuses to ban the chip 3 games in a row.
I don't know, but this game, I don't feel that early game power spike from the Granger. I know that he's a skilling marksman, but if he's fed, he actually can be a pretty naughty marksman. But I want to see either a farmed up Granger or perhaps even a Moskov bring him back into the game.
I feel like we need a good implosion from Jay. We need an AOG from the side of Closer. There's a lot of checklists that RSG Singapore needs to check. Flash SG on the other hand, they can do whatever they want. They've got money backs, they've got EXP gap right here. And then look at Vanix's Summon Force. Go 1v1 against Closer right there.
He already pushed one of the frontliners all the way back. Jay was completely out of position and now went in for the implosion. Unfortunately, did not catch anyone at all.
Oh my god.
Well, Flash takes an easy Lord.
And you thought the Tigre was a good counter against the chip. Curtisi goes in the Eve. And now you ask the question, who are you trapped with right now? The real world manipulation zone the rest of the members on the side of RSG from even committing into the fight.
This is the problem. Because Jay is just looking for an angle. Everyone had the same idea. He himself had the same idea. I want to position myself in a way whereby I can just dash in and then flicker in and get a good implosion. Let Closer be the one that takes the shortcut. But JPL knows he's not doing that. He will not do that. As such, they will always take some time before the shortcut even appears, or maybe don't even appear at all. So Jay will end up being out of position throughout the entirety of the fight. You saw that Jay, throughout that fight, he was on the opposite side of the entrance of the locked pit. There's nothing that he could do.
Cutting Jay right there.
With the Summon Force now being popped right out as RWM that locks everyone else inside. Roy with a Crimson Beacon back home. And Bray trying to clear out every single one of these waves only to be clawed to death by the 9-tailed fox.
Man, that was a long and tedious fight for the side of RSG. They're literally torn apart bits and pieces over again just to be revived and rinse and repeat. You can see how RSG has tried so many different ways and get you to Tigro and get you to Gatot. Nothing seems to work because of the real world manipulations creating such a big space for them and allowing the Lucas just to scale like that.
Yep.
And the fact that JPL is allowed to just do very JPL things on that chip, I think the chip needs to go, man.
The chip needs to go. The final fight was where we saw the collection of combo that we are looking out for, especially the Lucas plus the Yves combo. Just went straight in, whoever that was in the box, they are clumped up together, push them to the wall, additional damage in, and you know what's even greater than that? The fact that you know the trajectory of S1.